Hello guys, it's Jonas here to do another Bottleman unboxing. So I finally have Dekavitiger G. I was holding off on this one to pair the shipping with Kokuriwo G because shipping's absurd right now, but anyway. So we finally do have Dekavitiger. And yeah, this is a vertical shooter, but also a control type, which is very interesting. The cap here is the vertical cap. I'm very curious about using the vertical cap, honestly, so I am looking forward to testing this thing and have been for a while now. So anyway, here's everything you get. Here's the sticker sheet, which that's actually a pretty lengthy sticker sheet. We've not had like lengthy sticker sheets in a while. I feel like this has, yeah, I see a 21 right there. That's something. This is gonna take me a while to do, actually. Okay. And there's the instructions. Here's the vertical cap I've been curious about. Both sides are closed off, which is interesting. Here's the head cap, and then also here is the core, unique core, and then, of course, the armor and whatnot, the trigger, hold parts, all of that fun stuff. So I'm going to go ahead, of course, build this and put all the stickers on, do everything I need to do, test it, you know, all that fun stuff, and then I will be right back. Alright, I'm back, did everything I wanted to do, and yeah, here is Dekavitiger G. So this is not exactly the orange Bottleman I was hoping for, but it's like kind of orange. Still waiting on a proper orange Bottleman, but hey, this is pretty cool. Anyway, getting into the actual Bottleman itself, it is obviously a vertical shooter, you could tell, of course, just by the front here. And yeah, this thing does look really cool as well. So, yeah. Quite a bit of stickers. They weren't too bad, but not the best either. It was just kind of okay. But yeah. And yeah, this is a control type, a first for a vertical Bottleman. Usually vertical Bottlemen are power types, so this time we have a control type. And there is a gimmick to this, which has to do with the cap, of course. And yeah, the vertical cap, of course, both sides are kind of the same. And just like I could just set it down here and it just stays vertical like this. It can roll without falling, no problem. So yeah, really cool actually. I like the whole idea of this thing a lot. The idea is really cool. We'll come back to how it's executed in a moment, but yeah, let me go ahead and just kind of explain a couple other things. First up, the core itself is a bit unique because the back part here, it's not like other vertical cores. You can kind of, I mean, you don't really get like a core bottle cap in here horizontally, obviously you can't, but it definitely is made to attach to other Bottlemans. So obviously God Cap does have the whole kind of split core thing going on, so this is kind of made like a normal core. And interestingly, this means that the trigger is also horizontal, even though the cap is vertical. So yeah, this is definitely meant to be different, although I kind of don't like that. I would have preferred a vertical trigger here. Maybe still have some sort of back part to allow caps to be put in horizontally, that's fine. But I feel like because of that, this back piece is just very bland. If the trigger was horizontal, not horizontal, if the trigger was vertical, then there's a little bit more incentive to try this with other cores. Well, front pieces of cores, but it just kind of exists otherwise. But yeah, the front part of the core is kind of cool though, because that means you could use it with other things, like again, I don't know, a Samet's core with like the one-handed grip, that could work nicely here. So yeah. Also, there is a second gimmick to this thing, which is the head. The head moves around kind of freely. It just does whatever it wants. And the idea is that the hold parts right here just kind of exist, and if you push kind of down, a little bit back almost, you can press down on the hold parts, which has more of an effect when you're shooting. You can kind of see the cap move a little bit as I press down, kind of forcing the trigger back a little bit. But yeah, you can do that. You can basically make power shots, which is weird for this thing because it's a control type, but it's a feature that this thing has, which is still kind of cool and at least worth noting. So that's cool, I guess. Yeah, that's pretty much all the features. Yeah, it's just kind of the cap, vertical shooting, and then the power gimmick. I also want to mention that this is also just a weird looking Bottleman with how tall it is, but also being a vertical Bottleman, for the first time we actually have one that is customizable. Wonder Grape had kind of a specialized armor set that only worked with it, same with Raid Brave DX, but this thing, Dekavitiger G, they made sure the arms, the feet, they actually are just normal parts in DX. The head, I mean, that's not really unusual. But yeah, this core, it's a vertical core, but it works with anything. Even the back half cores are interchangeable, which is kind of unexpected. But yeah, I think outside of wanting a vertical trigger, I think that's really good overall. They made sure to kind of include, customization with these, because that was a big problem with the other vertical shooters. And also, with the front part of the core, you do get this head gimmick. It's attached onto the core, so if you use this front part of a core with other heads and just other combinations, you still have the gimmick there, which is cool. So yeah. So with all that said, how good is this thing? Is it a good Bottleman? Does it function well? So again, the idea is there. And I actually think to a large extent this does accomplish its goal. It shoots very straight. The vertical cap, it does work, and it's good. Yeah, this thing, again, it's a vertical shooter that shoots straight because they made sure the cap is balanced, right? It's not kind of a normal cap, which is just naturally not going to be shooting as straight. It'll eventually curve. This one doesn't do that. It's nice. So I like that. Also, the power gimmick, if you want some extra power on your shots, again, you press down a little bit, and it will give you some extra power, and that is nice, and it can actually be a decent bit of power too, so you almost get some power and some control here, almost like mixing the types a little bit, which is good. However, unfortunately for us, this is God Cap, where quality control is garbage. And while it's not exactly a quality control issue, it's just how they do the molds in the factory for some reason. Yes, this thing has a typical God Cap problem, where shooting feels very crunchy and just rough in general. Meaning that when you shoot, it just doesn't feel great. It's just not my favorite thing to do is with shooting these. It's just rough, and it feels like it has way too much resistance for what it should be. Something like this should be able to shoot way easier, but again, it just can't, which is unfortunate. Outside of that, though, the power gimmick also is a little bit awkward because if you press down too much or also just like too early, like if I press fully down here, it's going to be a little bit awkward. I recommend trying to kind of press down as you're shooting a little bit and just not pressing down fully, just trying to kind of give it a little bit more resistance. But again, you have to almost have like a good balancing act with that because I swear, like, I heard something. I didn't see anything break. I checked, but like, I swear, if I kept doing those power shots, it really did feel like something was just going to break. And a lot of that I think has to just do with the base tension of this thing because of how the molds are. Like I mentioned, there's a lot more crunch, a lot more tension, just shooting normally. And because of that, the power gimmick adds even more tension, and this thing already has an unnecessary amount because the molds are garbage. So the power gimmick is rough to use in my opinion. I don't like it very much because I feel like I'm either going to break something or I'm not really getting much out of it because I don't want to press too hard. Again, there is like a balancing act where you can get more power without sacrificing too much, but I still just wish this was a functional Bottleman with like DX quality. That would have been great. And if that was the case, this thing would have honestly been really cool. And I would have been very excited to talk about it, and we probably just had positive things to say, but unfortunately, with Godcap being Godcap, I can't say that. So overall, what do I think about this thing? I do think it's good. I still think, again, Godcap problems aside, it is good. It's just unfortunate that it couldn't have been great, is what I'm trying to get at here. But I still would recommend checking this guy out. It is a pretty unique one. Again, a vertical shooter control type with a really cool cap. Wish the cap mold was better. That would help this thing out a lot, but it's still overall, a good Bottleman, and it's just a booster as well, so it's like a pretty easy thing to get. So yeah, fun for sure, but just plagued by the typical issues of the season, and that's really all there is to say about Dekavitiger G. It's a good Bottleman with a unique gimmick. Nothing too crazy here, just a pretty standard release, I would say. I guess a little bit more unique than just standard, but you know, it's nothing crazy, so yeah, I think that's basically everything I want to talk about for this thing. Not much to it, so yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, and bye-bye.